even thinking about it now, like I was so nervous to tell them. Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. It is so good to see you. I hope you are doing well. Today's video we're going to be talking about how I told people that I was pregnant. For me, massive deal. Didn't really need to be, but we'll get into that later. And if you missed my first video about finding out I was pregnant and how I responded to that, then please click the link below and it'll take you straight there. For me, telling people was like the second biggest thing after even finding out that I was pregnant. I just really was worried to tell so many different people for so many different reasons. And I don't know if this is something that like everybody feels, but for me it was just a completely terrifying experience, from telling my parents to my sisters to the world. It was just absolutely terrifying. So the first person that I told was actually my sister Fiona. Ben was away. It was not like a planned thing. So literally I called her because she's the person that like I go to for everything. So when I just found out I was pregnant and I was like, oh my gosh, my life is gonna change forever, like I just had to phone her because I knew that she would give me calming wisdom, advice that would just kind of completely make me feel at ease again. Telling her was kind of easy because like we just have that relationship. Whenever anything goes like wrong or like anything big happens in my life, like I just tell her. That wasn't the story for everybody. Then Sarah, like I didn't even think about like how I was gonna tell her, because like it's the same thing, it's like your sisters, isn't it? Like it's always easier telling your sisters stuff. I remember, oh my gosh, it was after my first midwife appointment. Literally I was home, I'd only just seen like all the books, everything that they gave me, amazing, but I was still like, oh my gosh, nobody knows this secret. I remember going into one of the rooms of my house and my sister going, Carys, walked into the room and she goes, are you pregnant? Wait a minute. Like obviously, as you can imagine, I'm just coming to terms with this myself, and then like my sister asks me like outright in the middle of everywhere, my mum's cooking in the kitchen. I was like, shut up, like what? How do you know? Like since when have you known? Like tell me everything. I literally kicked her out the house and I was like, get out, we are not having this conversation here. I was like, yes, I'm pregnant. How do you know? Like I was in her face. I was like, tell me everything. How do you know? And she was just like, because obviously like for her, she's like, oh, you're pregnant. I was just like fuming, I was angry, I was scared because I was like, oh no, like what if everybody else has found out? How has this happened that literally I've just found out myself, like, and she knew about this? Like what? What had happened there was a girl in school's mum had actually seen me in the hospital and had actually texted Sarah's friend saying, oh my gosh, is Carys pregnant? To which then the friend asked Sarah, is your sister pregnant? To which Sarah said no, but obviously it sparked something in her head. So then she came home and asked me about it, rightly so, but I just freaked out. I don't want them to be finding that kind of stuff out through other people. I was just really concerned then that other people would know or other people would find out without me telling them and get offended. But then when it came to telling my parents, I think they were the people that I was really scared to tell. Like with my parents, they know me so well. I never want to disappoint them. And it was really strange because I knew I wouldn't disappoint them because it's like, it is what it is. But I still had that feeling of just like, I'm letting them down. It's like, it was so irrational, but at the same time, you can't help how you feel. No one really talks about like the realness of how you feel, which is kind of why I'm doing this. My dad was away at the time. Now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of people were away when I was doing this whole thing. Like my sister, Ben, my dad. So I found out I was pregnant. Next day, gone to the midwife. Next day, my mum's like, oh, Carys, let's watch a film. It was in the run up to Christmas. Of course I want to watch a film. What did she put on? Like this film about this princess having a baby. And I was like, she knows. When do you ever watch films about princesses having babies at Christmas? Like, do you know what I mean? I was literally convinced. I was like, my mother knows. She knows that I'm pregnant and she's just trying to like create a way for me to tell her. I wanted to tell them as soon as possible. Like I was only about 7 weeks, but for us at the time we were living at home, so I didn't want like doctor's appointments and stuff come in going to the doctors and then getting worried. So I was like, right, it's better that I just tell them like before the 12-week scan when you usually tell people, just so they know like where I'm at, because obviously I was still processing it all, and so I didn't want to have like this big secret in the family because we're all so close anyway. My dad comes home and it was dinner time, and we always like sit at the table for dinner, and I was so nervous. Like I was just so nervous to tell them. I like, even thinking about it now, like I was so nervous to tell them because I just didn't know what they were going to say. I had these feelings that I just couldn't shake off. I don't know what it was about my parents, but it was just this big thing. And I remember sitting at the table, and I remember going bright red, and I just went, "Oh Mum, we got some news." And they were like, "What do you mean?" They had no idea, they had no inkling. Even talking to them after, they had no idea what was going to come out of my mouth. But then when I came out and said I'm pregnant, they didn't believe me, and I think that made it worse. I had to like explain myself. What am I supposed to do? Go and get my test? Literally, like they were just sat there and they were like, "Shut up." And I don't know if that's because a lot of the time, like Ben always used to joke about like me being pregnant, and so it took like a good couple of minutes for them to kind of understand that this was not a joke. I turned to my sisters and I was like, "Girls, like back me up here." Like I think when I started telling them then about like how I'd been to see the midwife, what they'd said, then they started like understanding that this was real. They just kind of sat there and just kind of took it all in. Your parents do dream dreams for you, and they do want you to have like the best like outcome from life. They want to see you succeed. For something to happen that wasn't in your plan, obviously like a part of them would feel maybe sad because they're like, I'm gutted for you. I know that we've just made our life 10 times harder by having a baby. And I tell you why. We got businesses that we're running, we've got a house like that still isn't ready from renovations, like we're still like in our early stages of marriage. And I think as a parent who have lived that, they've experienced that, obviously they see this happening for you, and it's just like, not like that they didn't want it to happen or anything, but not that they're like disappointed or gutted or like, oh, she's shammed it, but obviously they understand the hardship that's ahead, so they kind of empathize with that. And so their response wasn't like, you know, overjoyed, because they had all of that to bear in mind. We told them and we felt so much better afterwards, and like, you know, my parents are great. They were like, "How do you feel?" And obviously we were honest with them, we spoke about it, and they were super practical as well, like, you know, "Guys, how are you going to make this happen with everything that we had going on? Can we help you in any way?" Which was super amazing and super supportive. I'm so blessed to be able to say that we have that, like, so amazing. And my dad even like came to me the next day and was like, "I'm really sorry that I wasn't excited when you told us your news." And I remember saying to him, "Dad, I wasn't expecting you to be overjoyed." For him to come and say, you know, it was just so overwhelming for me. I was just so shocked. This is amazing. This is going to be awesome. Everything happens for a reason was just so reassuring for me. We might not have had that like in the moment when we were like, "Oh yeah, we're pregnant," and you know, maybe if it was planned we'd have had a scan picture and, "Oh, you're gonna be grandparents," like we would have had all of that, but like I wouldn't change it. I don't know if you're watching this because like you're in that boat of I don't even know how to tell people. Just be real, just be honest, share how you feel. That's what I did. Made everything like so much easier. Telling my friends was lush. Everybody reacts completely like differently. Just having my friends, like we just dreamt, we just talked, like we thought more about baby than we did about circumstance. That is so important to have, no matter how you feel like about falling pregnant or about like your massive life change. I think it's really important to have people around you that will focus more on like the future stuff, the good things about it, than like, you know, the more emotional, feely side of things. So telling them was just like amazing. It was like a breath of fresh air, which was lush. The biggest thing for me though was announcing my pregnancy. I was really worried about that. Having everybody know, that really was like a big thing for me. And I don't know whether that's just me or whether that's a thing for everybody. It's a big thing to kind of wrap your head around, and I think because it was so unplanned off the back of like the whole wedding thing, I'm trying to come to terms with it all. I didn't want to be coming to terms with it with everybody else's opinions. This is how you raise a child. This is how you do pregnancy. I just didn't want that. So I actually announced my pregnancy at like 14 weeks pregnant, because I was already like starting to kind of show a little bit. In my pregnancy, everything's been very like fronted. Like, I'm just such a small framed person that literally anything happening there was just like times 10. I didn't want like that speculation of is she, isn't she. I wanted to be the person to break the news. So me being me, like, I never do things by half anyway. Like, so we got like a nice little baby grow. Like, we went upstairs, got a Moses basket, put things like in everywhere, made it all nice, got the scan pictures from like 2 weeks before. I put all that picture together, posted it just before I was about to go out, because I didn't want to be like on my phone all the time thinking what are they saying, what are they saying, what are they saying, what are they saying. I didn't want to be like looking at everybody's reactions. I just wanted to go and enjoy. So I strategically planned when I announced it. We had church the next day. Everything was just done in one weekend. I was so worried about everybody's responses, people judging me because I'd only just got married, and like I am this person that is such a control freak. I was like, everyone's gonna think that I shammed it. So irrational, so ridiculous, but that is how my brain works. But you know, everyone's responses was just so nice. Like, everyone was so kind. Obviously, I'm having a baby, so everyone just loves the fact that I'm having a baby. They don't care about like the politics or anything else around it. When you're faced with these things, I think your mind plays a bit of tricks on you. You let your insecurities ride high. There's so many things that happen in the background of your mind, whereas I think it's just so important to try and focus on like the good stuff. Like, everyone's just going to be overjoyed. At the end of the day, regardless of the circumstance, what a gift that you're having a baby. What a gift that like you can. Like, what a gift that there's a child coming into this world and you get to do that. Like, I think sometimes we big stuff up in our minds and people actually don't care that much. I literally had that ruling my thought life. So yeah, for me, telling people I was pregnant was just a massive thing. It didn't have to be like at all. I'm so excited that we are literally having baby Harding in like 12 weeks time. We're doing so well and we're loving life. Anything that I've said here, like if you're pregnant or you know someone who's pregnant that's like so worried and so scared to tell anyone, I would just encourage you to just do it, because like you can't control people's reactions, you can't control people's responses. The only thing you can really control is like how you think and how you feel about it. Get it out there, get in the open, because people will not react as you think they will. It's actually not that deep and people don't care as much as you think they do. So that's it from me. That is part 2 of my little pregnancy journey. There's so much more to come. Please subscribe to my channel below, and if you want to know more of the ins and outs, everyday stuff, then please follow me on Instagram right here, and yeah, we can hang out over there. Bye.